Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Good morning, London of News, Dr. Barry, Melbourne. We're just popping across to Pennsylvania and to Worcestershire in the UK. And of course, we've got Anne here from Melbourne and myself. We're going to have a little bit of instructions, help each other out to set the paperwork up on the International Common Law Court. Sadly, the best conversations are off air because there's a lot more to learn than what's on. Anyhow, just watch this and see how you go. We're in lockdown in Melbourne again. Well, according to the media, because the criminal politicians obviously told the media to spread the rubbish. And of course, the sheep were out there grazing the grass again with their masks on. But that's okay. It only applies to sheep. Hey, London of News, Dr. Barry, Melbourne. And we're now just had a big chat, a training session, with Dominic in the UK and David and Robert in Pennsylvania. And of course, Anne, who's one who keeps the records of all the shows. Anyway, welcome everybody. So, Dominic, you know that Melbourne went into a fictitious lockdown for a couple of days at the whim of a silly, hungry, power-crazed politician, which could be seen in reasonable grounds guilty of a number of offences. What's happening over there? You guys are in lockdown and for a long time now. How bad is things in the cold weather over there?
Yeah, well, first of all, hello everyone. Well, yeah, it's been cold, that's for sure. And as for the lockdown, it's got a bit monotonous now. It's just dragging on. I did hear about lockdown in Melbourne today, and do you know where I heard it from? It was Ripley News, Russian news, RP, something like that. Anyhow, but yeah, that's terrible, isn't it? It's apparently it's because of this rogue virus going around, isn't it? South African something or other. But yeah, we're in lockdown and there's no change. Only things are getting worse.
I saw a video, Dominic. I saw a video you did in Worcestershire somewhere at a testing station, and I heard from somebody else that nobody gets tested over it. They don't queue up. Here in Melbourne, they're paying them $450 to turn up, and if they find that they got this common cold, they give them $1,500 to stay at home. So why is it nobody queuing up in your videos? I heard it from an alternative view as well, that nobody's turning up to be tested because they don't get paid. Is that correct?
No, I've actually heard different to that. I've heard that they're offering £500 for people that have symptoms to go and get tested. I think that's what the government are offering. But as for what I've seen, that's a different kettle of fish, what you see. Now, I've seen lots of videos from different people that I watch on YouTube who do their own little truth productions, and they go around COVID centres. There's one in Manchester, Liverpool, and there never seems to be anyone there, just a lot of people in high vises. So I went out and about myself because it was cold and I couldn't do any work because mine's affected by that. So I went out and lo and behold, I didn't expect to see it. There was a COVID centre there. And I thought, wow, this is great. This is like cream, isn't it, for videoing? And so straight away I filmed it and I said, oh, COVID centre, here we go. And this lady jumped out of a 4x4 with a cup of coffee and she was on the phone like this. And she came straight up to me. Well, I say straight up to me. She stayed that stupid distance you want to keep. And she went, you can't film me. You can't film me. And I said, I can. I'm in public. And she took it she's a very hostile lady. Well, you can see the video yourselves, but she was very hostile. And I simply said, I'm in public. Whatever the eye can see, I can film. And she had to call someone, some man out or whatever. And he just stood there and shooed her away in the background. But they were all trying to hide their faces. And I didn't hang around long. And I filmed for probably a couple of minutes thereon. Just showed that I wasn't holding up any traffic and there was no one there. And there was probably 10 people staring at the camera. And then I walked off, and literally, as I got 3 minutes down the road, I could hear 2 police sirens coming from two different directions because I knew what they were going to do because she was already on the phone in the car. And that's just a waste of resources because all I'm doing is filming, and that's a legal thing that you can do. I'm in public. So nothing going on. Not one, no, one person, if you watch the video, came out, and then everyone came out to have a look.
That's the trouble, you see. They're all persons, and of course, persons are deceased to state at law, and the word legal, well, we got to forget that one. You guys in Pennsylvania, do you have testing stations over there?
Yeah, they're sporadically around.
They're somewhere.
Yeah, they're mostly at your clinics and at the hospital and stuff like that. But
They want him to test before his knee operation.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable to a certain degree. Even if you don't believe in the fairy tales or in the tooth fairy, they do test you before an operation, I suppose. Because the thing is, a lot of doctors. I mean, I've got a really good friend who's a medical practitioner, and he detests the whole setup, and he got jobbed in by a foreign doctor in the same clinic that he wasn't wearing a mask, and now he has to wear it. So it's all conditioning, and it's all brainwashing, and the fear, it's all things, and people are just not waking up. But getting back to the common law aspect, we're definitely we've got our first case here. Correct, Anne? We'll probably got the dates and stuff. But anyway, we've got the first case coming up at the end of this month. It's only a small case. It's a government employee, well, a corporation employee that's going to be charged. He doesn't know it yet, but he's a very naughty man, and that'll be our first case, which will take place at the end of the month. We have a lot of other cases to put together, and the paperwork is ready to rock and roll. Is that right, Anne? And we got our paperwork ready to send or deliver by the sheriff or by registered post. Have you got any news on you got the paperwork?
Yeah, we've done the paperwork on this particular gentleman that we're about to, take to common law court. So just a little bit more tweaking here and there, but I think, yeah, when it's ready to go, we'll send it off, and we're hoping to do something by the end of the month.
Yeah, definitely. We've been talking for quite a while, and anybody out there would like to make a donation to the Common Law Foundation, we've set it up. There's 2 signatures to any money coming out, so if anybody wants to check our accounts, they're quite welcome. We'll send them to them. But we need, because Anne and I have been putting money in, and there's a lot of stuff. We've got the enforcement aspect ready to go as well. But again, we need a little bit of support, and a lot of people will obviously send us a few quid, and that will help. So you guys in Pennsylvania, you guys, you got a few crooks in line to send some paperwork to?
He has a whole list. This is like, we got to go for those, a couple smaller fish, first. We already had something through the environmental court against the governor of Pennsylvania. Figure we do something through common law court as well with that.
You could use your grand jury to get an indictment on the governor. That's probably better coming from the grand jury, and so it's still a common law grand jury, and that's our intentions here. And anybody wants to know why John Smith hasn't been on? Well, England is in total lockdown, as Dominic just told you that. And I spoke to John Smith coming on his way back from London. He's been down there with some international cases in the fictional courts, and he's trying to get some people out of jail in France. So, and of course, lockdown, he can't get anybody into his the building up in Scotland because they'll get dobbed in by the landlord. Even the whole thing is fear, and it's a worldwide fear created by I reckon it goes back to the Spanish flu in 1918, that's right. And it started, believe it or not, in Texas. I don't know whether you guys knew that. It started by a young guy in Texas on a farm, and he got on a ship to go to Europe with the soldiers, took the whole ship, got sick, and they went to Europe, and coming back to spread it. So it spread around the world, and the reason people were dying was pneumonia. And of course, there was no cure for pneumonia, and it was the winter as well, and it was pretty bad. And these corrupt criminal politicians, and we know who they are. I'll call them we're calling the Democrats for some good reason, and the Labour Party, which for some reason seem to support the Democrats and install fear into the people. Well, you know, the people are the law, even if they are walking around like sheep at the moment with masks over their faces. Well, you know, there are people who are awake who will bring charges against these people, and it's happening. And by the end of this month, we'll have stage 1, and then stage 2 will be pretty serious stuff. So that's how we are in Melbourne, Victoria. So if anybody's got anything to say or add onto that, or any questions, go for it, guys.
I think one of the main things we need to work on is the enforcement after the indictments.
Mm.
See, like me and Rob, we already have an indictment through the environmental court for a couple of people, but the enforcement is the
That's what we're
issue.
running into. The issue is
Most because all of the people on their side of the fence don't want to cooperate with the court. You know, because you know the paychecks aren't coming from us; they're coming from the people on their
That's
side.
right.
So the problem is, you know, getting their people to assist and arrest and enforce it. So that's going to be like the main issue, especially if you're going for someone higher up in the chain.
The enforcement aspect of it, what we're going to stick to here, we'll have to instruct the jury. We don't have the facilities to arrest anybody. Is a monetary fine, $10, $1 million, and then you can go through the normal processes here to collect that money and take liens on property. That's the only avenue at the moment. We will have enforcement, but it'll never be as good as the fictional one unless we get business behind us, and businesses have been destroyed here. So it's in their interest to help us. And if one or two said they will do, but you know they haven't come in, they haven't put any money in the kitty yet. But I think a monetary, if you find somebody a couple of $1 million or $500,000, whatever the case is, you go after their property, and that's you can use that the fictional system to do that. You just send the normal paperwork, final demands, and then you go for a lien on their property.
You also have paperwork for that through the environmental court as well. Basically, it's like a civil suit, damages or something like that we have. But yeah, that's the pretty much anybody can do that lien process, which is good. It's just how organized are you on doing it. You got to send out the notification of the lien and then the 2 other notices after, and then it becomes law and seize their property. There was a lady one time with Bank of America. The Bank of America was in the wrong for something about I don't know if it was a foreclosure or what, but she got a lawyer, and they had secured a lien against Bank of America, and they showed up with sheriffs, and the sheriff started to confiscate all the property of the bank. And they said, whoa, and they quickly settled with the lady for that not to happen. That was just a few years ago.
Yep.
But a girl got a lien against one of the Bank of America branches, and that she got a lien to basically take anything that was in the building, became hers. So they quickly came to an agreement after that.
Yeah, the lien is a very powerful weapon, and it can be enforced in lots of ways. Apparently, in the UK, they've got police or peace constables, right, which goes back again to the early days. They've clamped some cars on some company directors and stuff till they paid up. So that's a hard way to do it. I think that if they keep it to a monetary fine, by the jury do that. The jury can do whatever it likes, but if we have a monetary fine, at least we can take liens on their property. And I think a lien on someone's property is a very, very painful way, and I think they've come to the party pretty quick. YouTube is the best of the lot. I mean, it's sad that they've got this restriction, and what they don't seem to understand, or maybe they do, but they don't care. The fact is, it's only going to be the same people that believe or who are awake, in our opinion, are going to watch it. The people that they're worried about watching it are never going to watch it. So I can't see the point of even censorship. It's pointless because, as we call these people, the brainwashed or the fluoride drinking sheep, whatever the case may be, they're never going to listen to us. So I don't know why anybody censors anything, because it's pointless.
But with the change of this administration, though, it's hitting home with a lot of people who have insulin dependent children and themselves, where, you know, insulin used to be very affordable. Now it's gone up, in some cases, $2,000 for a month's supply, and people just cannot deal with that. They can't. That's really affecting a lot of people, and it's going to come down to, you know, you look at your child and they have to have insulin, and so you buy groceries or you buy insulin, and that's going to drive a lot of people, wake a lot of people up. A lot of people are going to see that, and it's no longer out of their house. It's right there at their table, and it's right in you look at your kids in the eye, and you say, well, do I pay this ridiculous amount of money? And that, it may not even stop there. It might even go even higher. And it's just something that makes it very real of what has happened, and it's getting worse.
That's just changed in the last month or so since the changed administration.
In the last 3 weeks, last 2 to 3 weeks.
And they don't care because the agenda is the depopulation of the world by 83%. So.
Well, London of News, we're going to sign off. We've had quite a long time we've been on, and it's what, 12:30 over in the UK, and it's 20 to 8 in Pennsylvania, and of course it's early in the morning, 20 to 11 in the morning here in Australia. So we're going to shut down. We'll go off the air and we'll start working on the paperwork. And thank you guys for going live with us, and we'll catch you all again on the air very soon. And John Smith will be back. He will be on the air with us very shortly, as soon as he sorts out all these problems in the UK with the lockdown aspect and the criminal cases in London, which he's still not finished with. So thanks for coming on live, guys. We'll catch you all again soon.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay.